Small changes can go a long way when it comes to playing guitar. In this video, I'll show you 5 small adjustments you can make today that will have a huge impact on your guitar sound. Welcome back to Relax Learn Guitar. I'm Kevin, and as always, this is Maggie May. Oh, only one treat today. Coming back? No. My wife Vicky's behind the camera.
Hello.
Let's get started. This first tip I call the pencil trick, and you're going to need a pencil for this. If you have ever tried to play anything on the guitar, your fingers have touched the strings on the fretboard and you've tried to make a chord shape or a note or a riff or a lick, you have noticed that very small changes make a big difference. It's very simple to go from this. I shouldn't say simple. You can go from this to this with very small, slight changes. It's like a game of millimeters almost when it comes to playing the guitar. I like sharing this with folks in our Relax Learn Guitar membership. I've shared this tip with lots and lots of folks, and they have said it's helped them, so I wanted to help you guys as well. If you'd like more information about our membership option, there's a link in the description. So this pencil trick is something that's really going to help you arch those fingers, and that's the first small change we're going to talk about. Let's just talk about this. We'll do a C shape. So we're doing a C chord, right? And if you don't arch your fingers, you can run into things like muted strings.
The buzz.
Yeah, you might get the dreaded buzz. Let's see if I can get a buzz here. And it's, it just depends on where your fingers are. You just have to play the guitar and get used to kind of knowing where the string space is. And that just takes some time. But this can help speed things up. If we're playing a C shape, okay? If you use this pencil, place this pencil in your hand between your fingers and the fretboard. So you have this kind of going on. Oh, make sure we fret it right. We've got all the strings ringing out clean. Doesn't really matter what shape you play. I mean, if you're doing like an A minor shape, you should be able to get that chord to, get the shape correct and get the strings to ring out clean. And putting this pencil in here just helps you get used to remembering to arch those fingers. So arching fingers, big difference. Small change, big impact. If you like this video so far and you're finding it helpful, be sure and click that like button. It would really help us out. Number 2 is strumming in rhythm. Probably one of the most important things when it comes to playing the guitar. I have this little observation. If you are in a crowd at a concert or at church or at a show, anywhere that people are singing and clapping, if you kind of take a look around, it's very obvious when somebody is not clapping in time. There's always a few.
So true.
Yeah, and it really stands out. And that's the truth when it comes to playing the guitar too. If you, don't get a note correct or you're buzzing somewhere and you have to make a quick adjustment, folks typically aren't going to notice that. If you are especially playing with other musicians and you're not in rhythm, it stands out like a big sore thumb. So I've got a little tip here for you. We're going to use a little imaginary piece of string. So we're going to tie this imaginary piece of string around our wrist, and then we're going to tie it around our toe. And we're going to do a simple exercise. We're not going to care about the chords. We're just going to mute our strings. And I want you to imagine tapping your toe. If you're not tapping your toe when you're listening to music, you should start doing that. I use my right. Sometimes folks say like tap with the leg or the toe that you're not holding the guitar up with. I've not noticed a big difference. I've always just used my right toe because I'm right-handed. And this kind of example makes more sense this way. So imagine a piece of string tied to your toe, and as you're tapping your toe, it's pulling your wrist down. So you're muting your strings, you're tapping your toe, and we're just going to count to 4 on down strums. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So your foot is hitting the ground as you say those numbers, and your toe, and it's dragging your wrist down so that it's all kind of one action tied together. So we have that basic action, and then adding in the up strums on the ands. That happens because your wrist coming up is pulling your toe back up, so they're connected. Be sure and click the link in the description below and get your free 3-song lesson bundle, some classic rock songs complete with tablature. Tip number 3 is to strum softly. I see this one all the time, especially with folks that are newer to guitar. They really want to, and I did the same thing, really want to dig into those strings and let people know I am playing this guitar. And if you're noticing what's happening there, my pick is not moving at all. It's just kind of staying, you get my math correct, horizontal. Yeah, it's staying horizontal to the ground. And we're just digging into those strings up and down.
Your arm too.
Yeah, my wrist is not moving. Now, if you do this, if you move that wrist and relax it some and rotate it, you're going to get a much more pleasing to the ear. I mean, there's always a place for, really digging into it. But for the most part, you want to have some options. If you are always playing loud, it's gonna wear on people. If you can play softly, then you can adjust your dynamics as you learn. The way to play softly is to rotate that wrist, maybe a little bit lighter touch on the pick. You don't have to choke that pick to death. You can just make sure it's held on to, but you want it to, bounce around between your index and your thumb a little bit. But it's more my wrist. And the rotation. So when you're strumming down, you're at more of a 45-degree angle. And then you rotate your wrist, and you come back up, and you're more at that angle. So it's this motion. It's this, not this. So this. Not this. You also get more control as you're rotating and relaxing your wrist as to what strings you want to kind of emphasize. So it's very helpful to kind of get used to this action. Number 4 has to do with a question that I get all the time. Is it okay to use this finger instead of this finger? Is it okay to make my G-shaped chord like this instead of like this?
We do get that a lot, don't we?
Yeah, lots and lots of questions. I had the same questions when I was starting out. My go-to answer is, if it sounds good,
It
is good. Yeah, so our members probably get very sick of hearing that. If it sounds good, it is good. The beauty of the guitar, and one small adjustment you can make, is that the way you play it, if it sounds good, that's okay. That's the way that you play. So, like, you'll see me play an A chord, for example. Most of the time I play an A chord, I'm just using my index finger to bar strings on that 2nd fret. Not so much the traditional, but I mean, this sounds like this. This C chord, or let's just do G chord. This G chord sounds just like this G chord. There are thousands of ways to play every single chords. There's different voicings, there's different shapes. It depends on where you are on the neck. That's why the guitar is just so amazing. So if you're questioning yourself about, well, I saw my favorite guitarist play it this way, and that's not how I do it. That's okay. If your way sounds good, then it is good. There's not just one way to play each chord. Yeah, it's just something that, like, I wish someone would have told me that sooner when I was starting out. Number 5, this tip is about your mindset, which is probably one of the most challenging things to change. It's shifting from being perfect when you play to making progress when you're playing. So progress, not perfection. We get stuck with comparing ourselves to other players. It's just natural to do, but the more you can kind of step back and just compare yourself to yourself, the much more fun, relaxing, and probably the more likely you're going to stick with playing the guitar. You'll have a better time of it if you adjust that mindset to progress, not perfection. I've got a video here where I go into a lot more detail about that topic. Thanks for watching today. Vicky, Maggie, and I thank you for your support here on YouTube. It's been amazing. We'll see you guys for the next one. And remember, you're never too old to learn.
Take care.